Hi guys. In this video, I'm going to review 3 Google tips and tricks for doing research online. If you do a Google search to how to, troubleshoot all kinds of Google research, there are all kinds of videos that have lots and lots of really fancy tips and tricks that you can use to find easier ways to get exactly the results that you're looking for. I'm not going to go into all of those. I'm just going to focus on the 3 that you see on the screen right now. And that's narrowing down your search terms to only using the important words, using the different tabs in Google to vary the kind of evidence or kind of results that you're getting. So using news, videos, images, in addition to just the all results tab to get lots of different kinds of information, to get a really varied sense of everything that's already going on in relation to your topic. And then the last one is using a couple of search modifiers. The first of the modifiers is quotation marks around the phrase that you're using to keep that phrase perfectly intact. And then the second one is adding a plus or a minus when you have many terms together, so that you can either weed out information that you don't want or ensure that you get specific information that you do want. So we're actually going to start in a Google tab. I've decided to research social media and the effects on teenagers. So let's see how that works if I just type in what is the effect of social media on teens. Let's see what comes in when I just do that specific question. So the first thing I notice is it looks like some sponsored results that come like in these boxes and stuff. The first ones that happen at Mayo Clinic is a good source and reliable for sure. So effect on teens, effect on teens, 5 ways social media affects mental health. So some pretty good search results that happen there. I'm going to use the first tip for Google tricks and getting rid of some of these and additional words that maybe we don't need. Effect of social media. Get rid of teens. Like that. The one thing that I notice when I take a bunch of those terms away is the first thing that I get are all of these scholarly articles. So to me, that seems like a really good strategy to get some more scholarship like that. Some of the same ones appear, many of these change. So if I narrowed that down even more to social media and teens, let's see what happens when we do that. I still get scholarly articles, still get some of the impact, but now my experience is bigger, where it's not just talking about the effects, but it's just talking about social media and teens in lots of different ways. So that's tip number 1, is to go from just having the question that you're asking to just having the main points in the terms for your tricks and tips. The second one is to use the tabs in Google. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If we look up here in all of our search results, there are different kinds of responses. So there's the all, which I showed you. There's also the images tab. So if you want to do one of 2 things, add some images to your own persuasive piece, or if you want to find some infographics, usually those will be sitting in the images section. So charts and graphs, which can be a really good resource and reference too. There's also the tab where you can look at videos. So that's another way to see what people are saying about your big topic. And it can be a nice way to learn and hear what people are thinking and saying. The final tab that I want to show you that I think is really helpful is this news tab right here. And this is going to give you the stuff that's happening in the news right now. What's nice about this is you know that it's pretty recent. You can see how it's dated right here underneath. A month ago, a week ago. If you go into tools right here, you can do a couple things. You can sort it by date. So you know the ones that are most recent. You can continue to sort by relevance, but then also go in and decide what your custom date range is. So if you want something that's within the past 24 hours or something that's just happened in the past week or month or year, if you want to really be thinking about this issue in its most current scenario. So that's how to use tabs. And then the final one is to use search modifiers. So in a search phrase, there are lots of terms that are often happening. And so if I wanted to look more specifically at social media and teens and depression, and I added depression in right here, probably wouldn't need teens depression, social media, teen depression, and I wanted to see how those were linked, then I still get lots of really great results. Does social media cause depression? Teens in social media use, what's the impact? So we're seeing all of these links, and you're seeing that in the search terms, you are getting all of these terms, but not necessarily these terms together. So if you want to make sure that it's teen and depression that are both happening together, you can put quotation marks around the multiple words, and then it'll keep the phrase intact. So what I want for you to notice here now is that we see like social media are together, teen depression is together. And so even though that's not necessarily super applicable in this search term, you may have a search term where you have multiple words together. If you are talking about, police reform and protests, and in a situation like that, instead of having like police reform and protests, if you put quotation marks around police reform, those two words would stay together in the way that we're thinking about it. So that's what I want for you to know about quotation marks, that you can put them around multiple terms so that that phrase stays the same. The final thing that I want to show you is this idea of adding a plus sign or a minus sign to help weed out the information you don't want. So let's say I'm still on social media and teens. So when we think about that, we're getting lots of the similar ones. Impact of social media, depression is still coming up. But what if I wanted social media and teens, but I don't want depression? I want that search to be taken out. If that's the case, I can put the minus sign next to depression, and it changes my search terms to give me benefits, teaching kids to be smart about social media. So I'm still doing social media, but this idea that it causes depression has been removed from my search query. If I change that and I wanted to make sure that it includes depression, I could put that plus sign right there. And then I'm going to get all search terms that have to do with social media and depression together. One thing I want to make sure that you notice about this is that there's no space between the word and the plus or the minus sign. Those have to be put right together. There can't be a space in between the two, or it won't have any effect. All right, guys, so those are your quick tips. Just using the important words, looking through all of those tabs to make sure you're getting all of the information readily available, and using the modifiers like quotation marks and adding a plus or a minus to either ensure that you're getting the information that you want or to weed out the information that you don't.